In a related development, state governments have issued an ultimatum to Godwin Emefiele, the Central Bank of Nigeria governor, and the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to comply with the verdict of the Supreme Court on the controversial Naira swap policy. The state government's counsel, Abdulhakeem Mustafa, who threatened to file contempt charges against Emefiele and Malami on Tuesday, March 14, 2023, should they fail to obey the court order, said he expects immediate compliance with the order from the federal government following the court's judgment. In February, some state governments sued the federal government over the policy that led to a lingering cash crunch in the country. After a series of court proceedings, the Supreme Court on Friday, March 3, ordered that the old 1,000 Naira, 500 and 200 Naira notes should be in circulation alongside the new notes till December 31, 2023. Now, for more insights, Monday Ubani, second Vice President of the Nigeria Bar Association, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Ubani. Now, since the court pronounced its judgment on the old Naira notes, Malami and Emefiele have kept mum over the verdict as traders and businesses continue to reject the old notes. Now, where does the law stand on matters like this?
The position of the law is that when a pronouncement of the court is made, it becomes binding on all authorities and persons that are within jurisdiction. Now, as long as that pronouncement has been made several days back, one would have expected that everyone in the country will comply. This issue of waiting for another pronouncement or announcement from the presidency or from the central bank governor is clearly unnecessary. And I'm not happy with Nigerians not complying with the judgment of the court, waiting for pronouncement from the president or from the central bank governor. If we have decided to actually obey the law, then we don't need to begin to wait for the presidency to make a pronouncement. Now, this particular policy has subjected Nigerians to harrowing experience. And Nigerians are really suffering. As I speak to you, there are many things I cannot be able to buy because I don't have any cash. I couldn't purchase diesel in my office today because the ATM was not dispensing and the POS are not working. They don't have any cash. So it is something that is very, very bad for a policy you meant for the people, for the interest of the public, bringing so much hardship and you're keeping quiet. And the president is not saying anything with regards to what the Supreme Court has said concerning that pronouncement. So the law is that the pronouncement has been made and it's binding, and it should be the applicable law presently with regards to the currency matter in Nigeria.
Now, I'd like to know, another disturbing thing is that the president, like you earlier said, has not said anything concerning the Supreme Court case. He hasn't addressed it at all. Now, people are saying that the president is guilty of contempt. Now, what would you say in that instance, now that the president has not said anything? I mean, where do the people stand at this moment, at this time?
I think it's the people that are rejecting the Naira, the old Naira, that should actually be charged for contempt. The moment a pronouncement is made, the people supposed to be accepting the old Naira notes. But it is Nigerians that are refusing to accept the old Naira note, despite the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. And so it will be difficult for you to now say, oh, you are going to hold the president liable for contempt or the central bank governor liable for contempt, because you have not taken the money to central bank and the central bank has refused to accept the old Naira note. That is where you can say that he should be held liable. This idea of waiting for the pronouncement of the president or that of the central bank governor is where the problem lies. So the moment we don't even believe what the Supreme Court has said and we're waiting for that pronouncement, so it becomes a useless judgment that has been rendered, where it is the people that is making that judgment to look useless. Actually, not the president and neither the central bank governor, because there is no way we can really fault them. Because the normal thing is not for them to make any pronouncement to validate a judgment of the court. The Supreme Court's judgment doesn't require any validation from either the president or from the central bank governor. So it's the people themselves that are rejecting the old notes that should actually be brought before the court for contempt, and not the president or the central bank governor. That's my view. That's my candid view. Unless we have evidence that the president himself has refused to align with the position of the Supreme Court, or the central bank has refused to align, then you can now say that they are liable. But in the circumstance that there is a pronouncement, for God's sake, where are Nigerians rejecting the old Naira note that the Supreme Court said it is valid? Why are they rejecting it? Why are the transporters rejecting it? Why are the market women rejecting it? Because it's means of medium of exchange. We don't need to take it to central bank before we can accept money and then give whatever value we're giving, and then probably sell also to another person to also give us value. So it's Nigeria that are actually disobeying the Supreme Court judgment and not the central bank governor or the presidency.
You notice that even the banks are not the people are rejecting the notes because the banks are not even accepting those notes, and that's where the actual problem is. You know, that's what is putting us in a fix right now. So what is the way out? Who exactly are we to listen to? You know, the federal government or the state MFLA and the Attorney General of the Federation?
It's clearly very shameful, the kind of parting gift that the presidency of President Buhari is leaving behind. It's very, very shameful. Now, the situation is that my bankers called me, or I called them on Friday, and they told me they have some old notes that if I need it, I should come and take it. I told them that, look, you are giving me old notes, but the problem is there are some certain persons that do not accept it. And as I speak to you today, many Nigerians are complaining that people are not accepting it. So the banks are still dispensing old notes. They have it in their possession. But the point is, people are not accepting it. Now, if you bring it back to the banks, they now ask you to go and generate a code. Then there must be a code you have to generate from the central bank before they can accept it. So thereby creating a whole lot of confusion in the system. My take is that the presidency of President Buhari is leaving a very bad legacy. He's putting Nigerians into total confusion. He's making us to pass through harrowing experience that is unnecessary. I don't know what they are meant to achieve by this. If it's for political reasons, for God's sake, the political era is almost over, and we are still having seen the new cash. We have not seen the old currency even in circulation. So there are issues, and I think at this juncture we need to really sit down as a nation and know what the problem is and begin to sort it. And I still probably put it on the doorstep of the president to really solve this problem. I'm not talking about charging him for contempt. I'm saying that the president should be able to know that there is a situation on ground, and as a president of the country who is interested in the welfare of the people and the well-being of the people, should address these issues squarely and reduce the level of hardship that is actually Nigerians are experiencing presently. It is not a good thing. It's not a good omen. It's not a good parting gift for him as an administration.
Well, many thanks for your time and your contribution, Monday Ubani. Hopefully the situation, eases up in the days to come. Thank you very much.